Eru presents Worth a Shot, written by Amy Ewing and read by Ashley Rose Kaplan and Seán Burke. Chapter 1. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Dublin. The local time is 8:45 a.m. Please remain seated until the captain has turned off the fasten seatbelt sign. Cordelia rubbed her eyes, bleary from a sleepless flight, and peered through the small oval window as the plane crawled its way toward the gate. The sky overhead was covered in thin gray clouds, wispy enough to give hope that they might break at any moment and let in the cheerful rays of the June sun. But for now, the weather was as muted and shifting as her feelings. She'd been jittery with excitement when she boarded the plane at JFK, but now that she'd landed in Ireland, her stomach was tying itself in knots. Was this a mistake? Leaving her home, her friends, everything she knew in New York, and crossing an ocean to spend the summer on a tiny island in the middle of nowhere? It had seemed like such a perfect opportunity when she'd made the decision all those weeks ago. "You need a break," her best friend, Liz, had declared one afternoon as Cordelia sat on her couch, going through some photos she'd taken in the West Village that day. "I'm fine," Cordelia had insisted, despite every photo on her reel being all wrong, as if she'd forgotten the basics, the rule of three, negative space, everything that made a photograph interesting. "Cord, if your frown gets any deeper, it's going to become permanent." "You should go to an island somewhere," Liz had said. "Get away from New York for a while. Live on a beach, sip fruity cocktails. When was the last time you had any real fun? Or did anything that wasn't photography related?" That wasn't fair, Cordelia thought. Liz knew better than anyone how hard these past 2 years had been for her. She used to be so confident in herself. Cordelia James, street photographer. Star of her graduating class of the School of Visual Arts, mentored by the great Philip Watson. She'd spent days on end walking the streets of New York with her camera, waiting for the right moment to capture and share on her popular Instagram feed. And with that popularity came financial success. She'd had a show in a gallery in Chelsea, where her work had been purchased by rich housewives desperate for something cool and edgy to hang on their walls. And she had gotten a deal for a coffee table book. New York Minute, it was called. It did okay, but the publisher never asked for a second one. And then Cordelia's father died. Her biggest champion and her fiercest advocate. He'd inspired her love of art, lifted up her dream of being a professional photographer, and never insisted she get a real job like her mother always harped on about. His death was brutally sudden. One day, he was texting her about getting tickets to the latest Broadway revival, and the next he was just gone. A brain aneurysm right in the middle of his intro to Shakespeare class. For months, Cordelia could barely stand to pick up a camera. By the time she finally surfaced from the ocean of grief and began crawling back toward normal, Philip had moved to Chicago, the gallery had moved on to other up-and-comers, and her Instagram following had dwindled. Worst of all, her camera had felt like a stranger. She'd look into her lens, but she couldn't see. She'd lost her patience. Street photography was all about patience. That and good humor. Cordelia had been seriously lacking in both for a while. She felt like a wet rag wrung dry too many times, damp and crumpled and pathetic. So she'd taken Liz's advice and started looking into vacation spots. But all the places in Bermuda or the Bahamas were massively expensive. She had some savings and a modest inheritance from her father, but she didn't feel like blowing it all on one extravagant summer vacation. Then a listing had caught her eye. Cozy cottage nestled in the heart of Ireland's
Sample complete. Ready to continue?